Hello, everybody. Joe Joseph here, and this is your daily Sheeple.com daily news brief. Election day. I love it. No, I don't. What am I talking about? I don't love election day. It's really selection day because the outcome has already been decided. I mean, a lot of people out there really do. They love the illusion of choice. And I mean, they're going out there in droves to put their votes in, thinking that it's going to really matter in the end. But we'll go over some ways and how they actually go about doing this. I want to start out with some of the exit polls. This, according to ZeroHedge.com, says exit polls reveal fear leads optimism as economy remains the top issues. It says, with minutes left until the first polls officially close at 6 p.m., the first exit polls have started coming in, and they confirm that the economy remains a top issue for the majority of voters. This, according to Edison Research, exit polls cited by the Wall Street Journal, followed by terrorism and foreign policy and immigration. These all are hot button issues. And of course the economy's front and center. Everybody's struggling. I mean, anybody that we all know, I mean, unless you're hobnobbing with the top 0.01% or even 1%, yeah, I'm sure they're doing all right, partying like it's 1999. But as for you and me and the rest of Main Street, oh, we're sucking pond water. And of course it's the top issue. And of course Hillary Clinton's not going to provide any relief. If anything, she's going to clamp down. We're going to get taxed some more. And Donald Trump, he claims about the tax breaks, and that's all well and good, but you got to have a Congress behind you. You can't rule by executive fiat. It goes on to say the Wall Street Journal also notes that voters were asked about Supreme Court appointments, and around 70% said it was an important factor or the most important factor in their vote for president, including roughly 1 in 5 voters who said that it was the most important factor overall. Interesting, I say, because I think no matter what, on both sides of the fence, you're not going to get good Supreme Court judges because they're going to be swayed one way or the other. And you don't want somebody that's too overly conservative. You don't want somebody that's too overly liberal. You really want a straight shooter that goes and says, hey, Constitution first. The hell with the left, the hell with the right. Let's judge it on its merits, and let's judge it based on the fact, is it constitutional or not? And let's not get into any of the other crazy case law that may be out there or precedent, because a lot of that precedent was politically motivated. So I think that right there, that fear, while well-founded, you're not going to have a viable solution no matter what candidate. It also says in all, 53% said that they would be scared or concerned versus 43% who said that they would be excited or optimistic. Asked about Donald Trump's victory, the order was identical. Scared, optimistic, concerned, and excited. So everybody was like basically losing their minds. And a total of 58% said that they'd be scared or concerned by a Trump victory versus 39% who said that they'd be excited or optimistic. Now, according to an exit poll cited by 538.com, many voters were motivated by dislike of one of the candidates more than the support for the person they voted for. 1 in 5 Clinton voters said they chiefly opposed the other candidate, and 27% of Trump supporters said the same. Those figures were just 8% for Obama voters in 2012 and 10% for Romney in the same time. And as asked about Trump's treatment of women, 70% of all voters said that they were bothered by some of it. 62% said the same about Clinton's emails while Secretary of State. So troubling there that these emails are not resonating as much as we would like to think they would be with the American voter. And I don't know if that's because people still put way too much trust in the mainstream media, but, it remains to be seen. The website also cited the exit polls that confirm that black turnout may be down in North Carolina. Only 21% of voters in North Carolina identify as black. That's down slightly from 23% in 2012. And on the other hand, minority turnout is way up in Florida. According to preliminary exit polls, 39% of voters were people of color. This compares to just 33% in 2012. So you see there's a lot of different numbers here, the thing that we want to look for as this election comes to a close is how closely do the exit polls actually compare to the numbers that are coming in. And if you look at the questions, the exit polls really don't give you that side-by-side ability to compare the numbers, because they're not asking straight up, did you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Clinton? Which really should be the question, so you can have a hard measure against one another. But what's interesting about this, and what people don't understand, a lot of the American voters, is that the Electoral College in the end is who is going to decide the president. And that's not decided today. That's decided by December 19th. This, according to whowhatwhy.org, says while most Americans have a basic understanding of the Electoral College, far fewer of them know its extraordinarily undemocratic system. Did you know, for example, that it is mathematically possible to win an election with less than 22% of the popular vote, even if only two candidates are running, or that electors are not bound by the choice of the voters in their state? See, thanks to our current system, small states are given much more weight, and candidates only bother to show up in few tightly contested states. And everybody else really doesn't matter at all. As you wait for election results to come in, you just have to watch all of this shenanigans that happen and pay close attention to the popular vote. And then what we'll do is we'll see how that actually manifests itself with the Electoral College. And it could end up being in this race that we end up having a repeat of, say, Kennedy or when Bush stole the election from Gore in 2000. So that's very interesting, too. And this is a very interesting article. And I thought that you might find this interesting. On the heels of the election, there's been an incident in Russia. A power station explosion happened in a naval base region, and helicopters are landing on Moscow streets. A dead man was even found at the Russian consulate in New York. This, according to SHTFplan.com, says something serious appears to be happening in Russia, as well as at the Russian consulate in New York. Speculation abounds as multiple events are taking place in the last few hours that indicate either a very coincidental set of circumstances have just happened or an attack has been initiated against Putin's government. So here's what we know right now. On the heels of a previously announced pre-positioning of cyber warfare assets last week and some 300,000 NATO troops that are preparing for battle in Europe, we learned this morning from RT that a massive blast at an electrical substation in Murmansk, Russia, had left part of the region without power. And what makes this outage particularly interesting is that Murmansk is the main administrative base for the entire northern Russian fleet. Now, while no information has been made available about the cause of the blast, there's speculation that the explosion and subsequent outage may have been the result of a virus or Trojan similar to the Stuxnet hardware virus that took down the Iranian nuclear reactor centrifuges. And a similar cyber warfare tool could have been used to take down the electrical power station, much like the cyber attack on U.S. water treatment facilities in Illinois several years ago. In all of itself, that event would normally be dismissed as just a power outage, except just a few hours, numerous helicopters landed in the city in Balmanskaj, the suburb of Moscow. And witnesses are reporting a huge police presence in that area. And even that wouldn't necessarily be all suspicious as it stands alone. But since it's election day and the Obama administration had threatened Russia with significant response, should they be found to be meddling in the U.S. elections, the fact that a dead man with head trauma was found at the Russian consulate in New York. And this morning, and it gives us a hat trick of very odd events occurring at the exact same time while the U.S. elections are taking place. So all this begs a very simple question. What the hell is going on in Russia right now? This blows my mind. And what does it mean for Russia with regards to a response? Because you would have to think that if it's at all motivated or initiated by the United States, that's a full-blown act of war. So let's keep our eyes on Russia, because really it isn't all Russia, Al-Qaeda, WikiLeaks, rogue FBI plot at the end of the day. This according to the Daily Sheeple.com. It says, among the house of cards infested cliffhangers that define the circus is in town. U.S. election, to quote Nobel Prize winner Bob Dylan's Desolation Row, the key question in the lead up towards Election Day was why the FBI folded. See, FBI Director James Comey at the 11th hour ended up delivering a letter to Congress, marveling how his team had been working around the clock studying no less than 650,000 emails on the laptop belonging to Anthony Weiner, the sex pervert, estranged husband of Hillary Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin. Now, Comey finally concluded, it was only days, remind you, that, hey, nothing to see here. There's no evidence to say everything's just fine. They didn't break the law. Oi! Moreover, the big picture has been quite clear all along. The Clinton Foundation as well as the Clinton Global Initiative were both operated as political organizations totally focused on boosting pay to play. And a case could be made that first, Comey's letter to Congress was a response to the FBI's internal revolt, and agents there were part of the insurgency, are not likely to quit the long game even after the election. So they made sure that the real deal is with the Clinton Foundation, not the Hillary emails. So leaks are bound to continue. Even before the first FBI letter, FBI insurgents swore they already had enough to indict. They insisted Comey had been trying to stall because he didn't want to face the Clinton machine as well as the rest of Washington, D.C. Think about that for a second. All it would take, this eerily reminds me of the Obamacare vote at the Supreme Court, where everybody kind of knew that it was going to get shot down 4-3. I'm sorry, 5-4. And all of a sudden, at the last minute, John Roberts flips. Who flipped him? That's the question. That's what we have to really ask ourselves. Who slipped that envelope under his door? Who sent him the email with some footage that perhaps was blackmail material? And what happened to James Comey? Who got to him? You got to remember, he's cozy with the Clintons. I mean, these are all things that we have to consider. And then the question has to be asked, my friends, where is the outrage? Where's the outrage? So what we're going to do, and of course, by the time this video gets out, we'll be done. But you can go to DTRH Radio Archives on YouTube. And what we're going to be doing tonight is a live stream of the selection cycle. And I promise you, folks, if you want some real coverage on the selection process, then tune in. Even after it's recorded, just tune in and watch it, because this is coverage like you've never seen before. We used to do this over at truthfrequencyradio.com, and we're doing it now live so we can get some video stuff and really kind of yuck it up, because it is a joke at the end of the day. It's serious, but it's a joke, because, my friends, leaders are selected. They're not elected. And if you can't understand that by watching the copious amount of evidence through the WikiLeaks releases, through Bev Harris's work at blackboxvoting.org, I don't know what to tell you. It's an unbelievable mess that we're seeing here. Banks are even sounding the alarm, saying, watch out for volatility in the days and weeks to come, because nobody knows what to expect. They know that if Hillary Clinton gets in, it's going to be basically dead. She's not going to get anything through. She has no credibility, and it's going to be investigation of Palooza with every committee that's in the House of Representatives. They're going to be grilling her like crazy, and rightfully so. But it'll all be for show, because very often nothing ever comes of it. Are they going to hold her in contempt of Congress if she doesn't show up? I doubt it. Will she immediately have executive privilege before she's the executive? Who knows? And apparently there might be some validity to that, as Newsweek has already determined that she's going to be the president. Folks, these are really interesting times, but it's time to get off the duff, and it's time to get pissed. And I'm telling you, maybe the answer to this problem is to do nothing. And when I say that, don't get pissed. Please get pissed off. I'm praying that you do. But in doing so, grabbing the gun and storming Washington a la 1776 is going to end very bad for you. But if you don't go to work, and if all America just says, you know what, this government's corrupt, we're staying home. And we're not going to go back to work until you come correct. Then, my friends, you're going to see change. When you start hitting them in the wallet, like they do to us, through taxation by citation and every other way they have to get their hands in your pockets, I'm telling you, they're going to come correct, and they're going to do it fast. Or you're going to see their real true colors come out. Folks, this is serious, but let's have a good time tonight. So join us. Join us on this thing, and if you can't see it live, then check out the replay. This has been your Daily Sheeple News Brief. For tonight, I will see you all tomorrow, folks. Have yourself a very pleasant selection night.